Welcome to another edition of Kabbalah, where today we're going to be measuring potential on the middle pillar. One of the things that we've been talking about in this series on Kabbalah is that is exactly what that structure measures. It measures what something will be, whether it will be moved towards what it was intended to be, that is the above, or whether it will be something different, something not that doesn't quite measure up to the standards, or something that is below. And so when we look at potential, we have to look at what it starts as and then eventually what it becomes. In the Kabbalah model, we know that the epitome of all potential is found in Kether. Kether is every path that something can take, every single opportunity, every single potential that it can be. In Teppereth, we know that it is what something, the subtotal of what something is after it's gone through the creation process. And Yesid, that potential is further limited by law, and what it finally becomes is found in Malkuth. But what exactly is potential? What does that mean? Well, let's take the example of an egg. An egg can be so many different things. The potential that is inside of its shell is very, very great. If we allow that egg to hatch and to grow up to an adult chicken, why, that chicken has the potential to lay even more eggs. And the chicken represents, the chicken that is laying eggs, that has reached that state of adulthood where it can lay eggs, is Kether. It is at that moment where all potentials are represented. It can become all things. And not only that, it is multiplying. It is becoming more. And so its potential is multiplied by as many eggs as it can lay. Now the egg itself is Teppereth. It is the subtotal of the potential of the egg. It can go up into the Kether cycle, where it multiplies itself and expands its potential, or it can go down into the Yesid cycle, where it limits what it can be. So let's take a look at that limiting state. Let's suppose that the egg gets broken. And once it gets broken, well, any ideas of it ever becoming a chicken is lost. It can never become a chicken. It is limited now in what it can be. And so from there, we decide what we're going to do with this broken egg. Let's say it becomes a sunny side up egg. Well, once it becomes that sunny side up egg, that's the end of it. Malkuth is what it actually becomes, its end state. Now, it could just as easily wind up as in some bread, or as meringue on a lemon meringue pie, or any number of things. But in this case, we're looking at a sunny side up egg, but in each case, that would be the end of it in Malkuth. So again, when we look at what something can be, its greatest potential and of what it can be is if it goes back up into Kether rather than ending up in Malkuth. Now, the reason why I say that is only in Kether do you have the potential to meet all potentials. That is, some of these eggs can be destroyed in Malkuth. It can have a finite end. But as long as some of them go back up into Kether, the cycle can continue. That is why Kether is looked at as the cycle of life. It is the part that if we reach a Kether state, we are able to continue and sustain ourselves. Whereas if you take the Malkuth route, you wind up with a finite potential that eventually comes to an end. But how much of the egg should reach up towards Kether? If we had 100% of eggs reaching the adult chicken stage where they're laying more eggs, well, we would lose all the potential of Malkuth. We would never have sunny side up eggs, bread, or anything else made with eggs. But on the flip side of that, if we had 100% moving into Malkuth, then all of the potential would eventually be destroyed. Because once we got to 100% of the eggs becoming Malkuth, or becoming an infinite thing, then we would no longer have the potential to make more eggs. So what exactly is the right mix? How much of this should go towards Kether, and how much should meet the potentials of Malkuth? Well, the Bible does give us some examples on that. Kether, in the narrow road leading to life, that is a Kether moment. You know, that narrow road. Only a few need to go this road in order to keep things going. Whereas Malkuth represents that wide road of destruction. The majority which meet a finite need. They become this finite thing, and then they peter out. There's no continuation after that. Another Bible example is the good seed. So you got seed going by the wayside, you got seed going amongst the thorns and the weeds. You got others growing on a stony place that when the sun comes out, they get scorched. And then you got that very few that reach good soil, and they grow and produce fruit. Of course, the pathway that leads to fruit is the Kether path. And all these other three roads, where the birds eat it, or the weeds choke it, or the sun scorches it, that is going to be your Malkuth path. So even there, we see that there only needs to be a small percentage that reaches Kether in order to keep the whole thing going, the whole cycle going. But when we look at this whole image of the Kabbalah, the tree of life, we tend to think that it's on an individual basis that the Bible is talking, but the Bible is not speaking of individuals, like whether or not I'm going to reach the Kether stage, or whether or not I'm going to, be destroyed. It's not really talking on individual level, although it can be. What it is more geared towards is looking at the earth as a total, as a whole. We are that one seed. We are that egg. And it's asking, what will this earth become? What will the people reach towards as a collective? Will they reach their Kether potential, where they're able to, maybe go out and colonize other planets? Or will they reach a Malkuth potential, where they destroy themselves, where they reach a finite potential and then they end? And this is what we have to ask ourselves. Where are we as a collective headed? Are we going to be that Kether potential that our story continues on somewhere else out there? If you want to know more about Jewish and Christian symbology, which covers symbolism, prophecy, hidden meanings in the Bible, Kabbalah, and Bible philosophy, please join us on Facebook under Jewish and Christian Symbology. Have a good one.